Welcome, 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 welcome to our chapter number 12, Living the Slight Edge. So, Vinci Lombardi said, "Gentlemen, this is a football." With these words, the legendary football coach would begin each new season of training, never taking anything for granted and always view each of his players as a blank slate, despite the fact that they were all seasoned pros. The first time Lombardi uttered this famous line, Green Bay backer, great Max Maggie delivered his own immortal retort. Oh, coach, could you slow down a little? You're going too fast for us. And got a chuckle even from the unflappable Lombardi. The contemporary business world has expression for this mindset. Assume nothing. The Zen Buddhists call it a beginner's mind. It's a mindset of humility and fresh inquiry, always looking for the most meaning and importance in the smallest things. I can't think of a better or more eloquent way of expressing it than, "Gentlemen, this is a football." No matter how great your aspirations, how tall the dreams, and great the leap it means, eternally repeating truth of this light edge is that it is always built of small, simple steps, easy to do, and just as easy not to do. Don't go too fast. And don't be too proud to stop. Look at your life and tell yourself this is the football. To the coach, the football was a single step that begins the 1,000-mile journey. The football was Lombardi's penny. Now it's time to find yours. What one simple, single, easy to do activity can you do day in and day out that will have the greatest impact on your health, your personal development, your relationships, your finances, and your life itself? In this next section, I'll ask you to walk yourself through these 5 areas of your life, one by one, to examine what they mean to you and where your dream lie in each, and then lay out for yourself your dreams as goals, specific, vivid, and with a timeline, the price you're willing to pay, a plan to start, and finally, one simple daily discipline that you will commit to doing each and every day from now on. Go ahead now and take this stroll through your life. Take a pencil as a walking stick. The slight edge and your health. Jean Antley Brilt Savarin says, "Tell me what you eat and I will tell you what you are." आज हिंदी में इंडिया में बोलते हैं, सात्विक खाना खाओगे तो प्रवृत्ति वैसी होगी, राजसिक खाओगे तो वैसी होगी, तामसिक खाओगे तो लेजी, लेथार्जिक, गुस्से वाले होगे. सो जैसा तन वैसा अन्न, सेम थिंग वी टॉक इन हिंदी. हमारे आयुर्वेदा में तो इसके बारे में बहुत बातें हैं, राइट? They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I don't know about that, but I do know that is the way to his destiny. Health is one of the greatest riddles of existence. The foundational importance of everyday health is one of the most commonly known truths of human existence, and at the same time, it is also one of the most commonly and blatantly ignored. Everyone knows that if you don't have your health, you have nothing. Our language is brimming over with related figures of speech. At least you have your health. You're only as old as you feel. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Of the three self-evident inalienable rights that ring from American Declaration of Independence, like a trumpet fanfare, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the first without which the other two are irrelevant is life. And the most basic condition for the free, unencumbered experience of life itself is health. There's nothing more basic than health, and there is no area of life where the slight edge is more vividly in operation, working either for you or against you. That is perhaps your most precious, important choice day by day, hour by hour, whether to let your eating and physical activity build your fondest dreams or to dig your grave with your teeth. Hamlet wondered, to be or not to be? You get to ask yourself and then answer it with every meal. I always start with the area of health because when I'm in good physical condition, I need less sleep, think more clearly, feel better than anything, and get more accomplished. My simple daily disciplines for my health is to exercise for at least half an hour. When I started doing this, I have to admit it didn't thrill me. That first day I went running was a real drag. I'd let myself go physically. It was harder than I'd expected it would be. The first day I ran for only about 10 minutes. Then over the next several weeks, I slowly worked my way up to my daily half hour. But even before that first week was over, I actually felt better than I had in months. I usually say that the slight edge does not work quickly, but the truth is that often you'll get positive results fairly quickly. You may not achieve your ultimate goal in a week, a month, or even a year or two, but you'll see the positive changes far sooner than you might expect. That's the way it was with my running. I've said that successful people are willing to do those things unsuccessful people are not. And sometimes those things are uncomfortable. There's always a price you pay, and for me, the price included my initial discomfort, but that price was quickly paid in full, and within weeks, the discomfort faded. Now I'm uncomfortable when I don't run. Another great example comes from the Slight Edge reader, Amber Thiel of Seattle. Her friend adamantly recommended the Slight Edge to her. As she read the book, she knew why her friend had put the book into her hands. She was a living example of applying the Slight Edge principles towards health. Here is her story. The principles in the Slight Edge exemplified the exact approach we were using to teach people how to get to their ideal health and weight. We focus on empowering people to make small decisions every day, taking the focus away from the scale and focusing on the journey ahead. It's not the one unhealthy meal or one skipped workout that causes you to gain 25 pounds. It's the daily unhealthy decisions that add up over the course of a year or two that causes the 25 pounds. The same principle applies to release 25 pounds. It's not one or two healthy decisions, but the compounding effect of daily healthy decisions over a long period of time. Soon after reading The Slight Edge, we decided to launch our home health seminars into a business that now touches individuals and families all over the world in their health. The name for our company became The Healthy Edge, inspired by the Slight Edge. The foundation of the Healthy Edge is five daily goals that, when done consistently, transform people's health, attitude, esteem, and weight, says Amber Thiel. Amber is in great company along with many doctors who've written into us to explain how they've incorporated slight edge principles into the health regime that they recommend to their patients. Taking control of your health is just a few daily actions away. Those slight edge actions that are easy to do and easy not to do, soon, thanks to the powers of momentum, completion, and habit, they can become far easier to do than not to do. Take a few moments to work out your own health, slight edge plan for your health. You don't need to feel limited or constricted by this exercise. You can always change and modify what you write here. Use a pencil, but do yourself a favor. Don't skip over this and read on the next step. Actually, take the time to fill out each section, at least with some solid ideas to start with. You can always add to it, refine it later. In fact, you'll have to. That's how the slide edge works. You're not supposed to get it perfect the first time. The dreams for my health. Now, what we need to do for our health is very specifically what kind of body do we want, what kind of weight do we want, and what is the timeline that we want. And also, they've mentioned in the previous chapter, they've mentioned why do you want to be healthy or be that weight? So, some people can say, I want to be that weight and so healthy because I want to run a marathon by this and this date. Some people can say, I want to be thin and healthy because I want to inspire my family to lose weight. So, I want to lead by example that if I could lose weight, so can they. So, very specific dreams and with a timeline. Now, the price to pay. What is the price to pay? That maybe I will do intermittent fasting. Maybe I will not eat sweets or something. Maybe I let go of this or that or whatever. Plan to start. So they say there is nothing called a plan to start. The plan should start now. If I've decided to lose weight, what will I do? Okay, I need good sleep because if my body is tired, then I'm not going to be able to sleep well. The way we need food or breath for our body to live and survive, similarly, we need meditation for a mind to thrive. So, without the mind being balanced, they will not be able to knock our weight because when the mind is agitated, it will show in emotions, and emotions are the reasons why body carries weight. One simple daily discipline. What do I do to lose weight? Do I have to walk so many kilometers, or do I have to do something, or maybe intermittent fasting? So we have to be very, very clear on it. Now let's talk about the slight edge in our personal development. James Allen, As a Man Thinketh says, who wrote the book As a Man Thinketh says, you will become as small as your controlling desire or as great as your dominant aspiration. So when we are having desires जो हमें रूल करती कंट्रोल करती हैं, वो हमें लिमिट करती हैं, बिकॉज़ हम एक दायरे में बंध जाते हैं. But when we are aspiring and there's fire in the belly, then we can really rise and shine. If you could wave a magic wand and have either $1 million in the bank or $1 million mindset, which would you choose? So 90% people would say $1 million in bank, right? I wouldn't hesitate for an instant. I'd rather be worth it than have it. Why? Because if I'm penniless, but I have $1 million mindset, then it wouldn't be long before I have the $1 million. But even if I don't have $1 million mindset, even with the cool million in the bank, it won't be long before I'm back to being penniless again. Your income will never long exceed your level of personal development. It may take a jump through happy circumstances or a lucky break, but if your own development does not quickly rise to meet the new level, it will quickly bounce back to the level where your personal development limits it, sure as if it were on a rubber band. Now, the simple example for this is there is a survey globally that 96.34% people in the world who win lottery tickets and become instantly rich, they come back to becoming who they were in a very, very, very short span of time. Why? Because they have a poverty mindset. So they are unable to retain the money that they have just gotten out of luck. So to have a mindset which is for a millionaire is far more important than having that million in the bank. Because a million in the bank will convert back into being penniless unless and until you have the million in the bank and you are working on becoming a millionaire mindset person, and then you will be able to sustain at least $500,000. The same is true for your health and of your relationships and of your career and of every aspect of your life. Over the long term, the limiting factor is never circumstances or fate. The limiting factor is always you. In the same way, and for the same reason, the limitless scope of possibilities is also defined by one factor, which is you. You already know of my passion for this area and my number one slight edge recommendation. I teach everyone I work with to read at least 10 pages of a powerful, life transforming book each and every day. At the back of this book, I provide a list of some of my favorites. Please add to it. Building your own personal development library may be the single most valuable and important investment after your personal health, and you can make. In addition to reading the 10 pages a day, I also teach people to listen to a self improvement serial or a download of at least 15 minutes every day. The average person spends between 250 to 350 hours every day driving to and from this place and that place. That's about 40 minutes to an hour each and every day. If you spend that time listening to educational self improvement material, you'll have the equivalent of a PhD on any subject you choose in just a few years. That is the slight edge. When you're in your car, you can listen to music, but why build Kenny Chesney's dream, even though he's my favorite, or Taylor Swift's dream, when you could be building your own? Listen to Jim Rohn's audio programs. He's a master at helping you build your dreams. Turn your car into a drive time university. There are hundreds of powerful, masterful men and women to choose from, but you do have to make the choice. I run with an iPod and a headset, so I'm listening to audios while I run, which doubles my improvement. I travel quite a bit, and when I do, I always pack my running shoes and iPod. So my slight edge half-hour run goes with me no matter where I travel. Because I double my time by listening to audios while I run, I also get to work directly on my personal development, like health. This is a fundamental area for me and so powerful that it influences everything else going on in my life. When I first added the iPod to my daily run, in those days it was a Walkman, I started noticing positive changes in my every other area of my life within the first couple of months. It's easy to do, easy not to do. And if you don't do it, what will happen today? But that simple error in judgment compounded over time will leave you a willing participant in the conspiracy of mediocrity that nibbles away at the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of the 95% who live out their days under the curse of Thoreau's famous epitaph for humanity from Walden. The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. Listen to audio series is an especially powerful slide edge tool because it can turn your downtime into up time and double your productivity. You can drive to the store, to work, or school. You can jog, rollerblade, bike, walk, sit on plane, stand in line, pedal, row, ski, stretch, lift weights, all the while feeding your mind through life transforming information. And when you spend the time listening to the true masters of skills you seek to learn, you're using the third and the most powerful method of learning by modeling a mentor. Take few moments to work out your slight edge plan for your personal development. Again, you need not feel limited or constricted by this exercise. You can always change and modify what you write here. But don't skip to the next step. Do yourself a favor and put down some initial thoughts. Use a pencil. My dreams for my personal development, again, specific, vivid, and with a timeline. The price to pay, the plan to start, one simple daily discipline, just the way we had done a while ago for our health. Now let's talk about the slight edge and your relationships. Joan Donne, the author of Devotions Upon Emergent Occasions, says, no man is an island, entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if promontory were, as well as of a manor by their friends, or by thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sent to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. One of the great ironic truths of human existence is that no matter how great accomplishments, it's ultimately other people who give it meaning. One reason Citizen Kane continues to rank amongst the greatest films ever made even today, more than 60 years after it was made, is that it makes such a powerful statement of this truth. Despite all his larger than life accomplishments, his millions, his international power as kingmaker and breaker, in the final hour of his life, Charles Foster Kane was consumed by a single thought: anguish over being ripped from his childhood and thrust into the world alone at the age of 8. The great man who had no one to share his conquests and accomplishments with. Earlier in this chapter, I wrote that the importance of health is one of the most commonly known truths of human existence, and also one of the most commonly and blatantly ignored. The same can be said for the importance of relationships. How often have you heard of successful businessmen who achieve great financial success only at the expense of those two most precious assets, good health and a rich family life? When writing about the law of associations, I mentioned the importance of who you associate with in terms of its strategic effect on you. But there is a greater truth about your associations too, because the relationships you choose are not just only a means to an end, they're also an end in themselves. All the success in the world, as Charles Foster Kane learned, means little if there is no one to share it with. Relationships too are both built up and torn down in the subtlest ways. Because most people are not aware of the slight edge, the progress of the relationships tends to be a mystery. What makes a marriage grow richer over the years for one couple and grow stale, empty, and bitter for another? 9 times out of 10, better 19 times out of 20. There is no single significant answer. It is the little things day by day that add up over time to unshakable happiness or unsalvageable misery. You've no doubt heard the expression, it's the little things that count. There could scarcely be a more succinct statement of the slight edge, and chances are you've heard it said in the context of a relationship. The remembered birthdays, the little gifts, the gestures, the kind words, the remembered favorite color, the 5 minutes snatched from an impossibly hectic day to drop everything and hear the other's news. The word of encouragement, the reminder of your own belief in the other person, the listening. It's been said that the most important statements of friendship are usually spoken with 5 words or less. That is the wisdom of the slight edge, those tiny thoughts and gestures that are startlingly easy to do and tragically easy not to do. The future of every relationship you have, like that of your health, is a choice that is always in your hand and it's no bigger than a penny. The key is to make the choice and keep making it. A special category of relationships, of course, is family. If you have children, you probably already know that they are in many ways your greatest legacy. No matter what the state of the educational system and regardless of decade or generation you're looking at, it always seems to be in a state of crisis. The single most powerful influence on children will always be the people who raise them. My daughter Amber has usually high self-esteem. There is no accident. In fact, it's a blessing I owe to the slight edge. When Amber was little, my wife and I knew that no matter how much we might want it, we could not change the 40,000 no's she was going to experience. That's what parents do. We set boundaries. The no's are something we do to protect our children. That's our job. We couldn't change the number of no's, but we could change the number of yeses. And it's exactly what we did. One of the greatest gifts you can give to your children is more yeses. So every time we said no, we found a way to say yes. By the time Amber went to school, she brought with her some 40,000 no's, but she also brought with her something to the tune of 160,000 yeses, 4 times as many yeses as no's. It changed her philosophy and her view of life. It changed her view of life. As a result, it will change her entire life. Though children are special, they are not unique in this respect. They are human beings, and so is everyone else. What kind of influence can you have on people simply by providing you could possibly imagine? I want you to hear from Rennie. Just 1 second, please. Okay. I want you to hear from Rennie, Amber's mother, and my best friend, because she consistently applies a slight edge to relationship better than anyone I've encountered. She says, my first slight edge experience began as a child watching my mother interact with everyone around her. She made a difference every day with friends and strangers alike. We didn't know what it was at that time, but it was definitely slight edge in action. I didn't inherit her gregarious personality, but I did inherit her heart for people. I made it a habit to be present with whomever I happened to be with, to take an interest in them and what is going on in our world, to ask questions, and most importantly, to give encouragement for a job well done, to notice and comment on what is right and what is not, and not what is wrong. I do this even with strangers that I might possibly never see again, for sales clerks, wait staff, and people I come across during my daily activities. I don't know how this affects the people I encounter, except to know that so often people who are checking me out at the grocery store will spill their heart and tell me so much of their personal lives because for a moment I took an interest in them. We never know what people may need at a given point, a smile, a moment, a sincere question about their life. Someone to listen might just be exactly what a person needs. It is one of the slight edge disciplines. It would be so easy not to talk to them, to be caught up in my own thoughts, to not have an interest outside of myself. But as this phenomena called the slight edge catches on, what if we use it beyond ourselves? What if we use it to create a positive moment for all to cross our paths. It would eventually start to mess with the negativity and indifference that so often greets us. I try to do the same, but as on a much bigger scale with my friends and family. Once my daughters were born, I felt as if it had begun the most important job of my life. I practiced a slight edge with her in every way imaginable, with the best possible results. My encouraging, positive, you can do anything attitude has been practiced more on her than on anyone else in my life from the time she was born. She's an only child, so no one got left out. With children, it is often so much easier to take the path of least resistance, to let them eat that fast food to they love rather than cook something healthy, to let them watch TV rather than read to them, to let them play video games rather than to interact with them. I've worked to make the slight edge decision every day in every way with her, and it has paid off in a slight way. She's now an adult, a woman who knows she can do anything she sets her mind to. I can't really list the ways it has paid off without sounding like a typical proud mother, but I think you can imagine the outcome. I can no longer make the slight edge decisions for her, but the wonderful result is that now she's making her own slight edge decisions, and I'm sure she'll pass this on to her children. Everything you do is important. Toss a rock into a pond, and you'll see ripples from its impact spreading out. They reach the opposite shore. The same thing happens in life, only in most cases, you never see those ripples. Everything you do is important. When you smile at a child and encourage him or scold him and tell him he's no good, in either case, you may see the splash it makes. And you may see the first or second ripple, but the impact goes far, far beyond what you see. You don't see the ripples. You teach someone to read 10 pages of a good book a day, and you may see how it changes her. But the chances are you won't see how it changes her kids. And her kids' friends and their friends. And as these ripples spread out, they grow bigger for better or for worse, with positive impact or negative impact. Even your smallest actions create a ripple effect that has an incalculably great impact on the world around you. No doubt you recognize the description of the ripple effect. It's our old friend, the slight edge. Now take a little time to think about the relationships in your life and not just a few thoughts about how you might work out your own slight edge plan for deepening, strengthening, and enriching those relationships. This is perhaps the most personal area of the five, and if you feel safer since someone else might later be reading the copy of Slight Edge, copy the worksheet below into a diary or journal and fill in your answers there. Either way, do take the time to give it some thoughts and come up with your own answer. This is your life. This is the reason you're reading this book. Again, the same four things. My dreams for my relationships specific, vivid with the timeline. Price to play, price to start, one simple daily discipline. The slight edge and your finances. Lombardi again said, winning is a habit, unfortunately, so is losing. It's no accident that our explanation of slight edge began with the story of a penny doubled. The world of finance is one of the easiest places to see objectively and logically the power of the slight edge in action. Everyone knows about the power of compound interest, right? Wrong. Everyone thinks they know about the power of compound interest, but most don't, not really. How many really do understand the power? 5%. The ones on the success curve side of the slight edge. Remember the Pareto principle as applied to your goals deadline. 80% of everything you do tends to get done in the last 20% of the time available. There's a similar law at work in most people's finances, only it's worse. It's Parkinson's laws. Coined by Professor Cyril Notcote Parkinson, work expands to fill the time available for its completion. As applied to personal finance, it goes like this. Whatever I have, I spend. And for the last few generations, where easy to get consumer credit has flourished like weeds, it has come to more like whatever I have, I spend a little more. There is some good news here. Recently, the common sense of slight edge personal finances has started making a comeback. The book, the book, the book, The Millionaire Next Door, bucked the trend towards flashier. Donald Trump style how to finance books and instead gave examples after example of how a cross section of extraordinarily ordinary people became wealthy without inheritance, without high taxing, high paying jobs, without making a killing in the stock market, without any of the usual breakthrough path riches, but by simply doing easy things every day. The first of 7 rules was always live below your means. The book became a runaway bestseller. When Stanley and Danko's book came out, my friends started reading it and calling me up one by one for saying, "Hey Jeff, I just read this book and it's about you." For years, I kept our family living on a $4,000 budget. No matter how much my income increased, I won't let us raise that monthly threshold until I had $1 million in the bank after taxes. And I raised it to $5,000. Living below your means is a classic slight edge strategy. You know where I got this slight edge financial philosophy from? Someone very near to me, very dear to me, my mom. My mom worked for the majority of her career at a Methodist church. She worked hard and saved wisely. When she was nearing retirement, we were discussing her future when she modestly told me that she had saved through the years and was retiring as a millionaire. I was floored. Here was a millionaire next door that I didn't even know about. David Back's The Automatic Millionaire continued in the same vein, and this book, along with other titles, Smart Women Finished Rich, Smart Couples Finished Rich, Start Late Finished Rich, as well as this appearances at the Oprah Winfrey Show, have brought Back's common sense, slight edge financial advice into millions of households. I'll bet you already have some very concrete thoughts about this area. Perhaps you've even been working in this part at the back of your mind, even since you even read the story of the wealthy man and his 2 sons. Now the time to start putting some of your thoughts to paper and sketch out an initial plan for realizing your financial dreams and goals has come. Again, the 4 questions. My dreams for my financial, specifically timeline, vivid, price to pay, plan for start, one sale, daily discipline. So, to everybody, whoever will be reading this with me later on the internet, on YouTube, please do this homework. This book is not just a book, it's an act that we must do. So, when you're on YouTube, you can just pause it, do the assignment, and again hear it. Don't just read it the way we are reading it right now, because otherwise you lose the essence. So please practice and do it simultaneously. What gets done while the session is on is more powerful. What gets done later, you never know. You keep stalling and procrastinating, it will never happen. So if you want the slight edge, work parallel. The slight edge in your life. There are only 2 paths in your life. While we are traversing them, especially in the early stages of the journey, they can often look like, because appearances can be deceiving and almost always are, but they lead ultimately to very different places. One path leads to regret, the other path leads to fulfillment. In a typical goal setting workshop, participants often asked to set goals for a year ahead, 5 years, even 10 years. I went to a seminar once that had a unique approach. We were asked to set 100-year goals. What kind of goals could you set for 100 years from now? What kind of impact can you imagine yourself having on the world that will last after your own life has run its course? What will people remember you for after you have come and gone? What impact do you wish to have on the world? I used to ask people to think about our careers, so their society, their social and community activities, their spiritual lives as distinct different areas, much like their health and finances. I've come to look at this a little differently. I've realized that I would rather ask a larger question and embrace all those: career, social, impact, and spiritual life, as well as many others. Why do I want my life to mean? This is the biggest area of all because it includes all the others. Don't let its sheer size and scope intimidate you. After all, we're looking for here is simple little things you can do every day, things that are as easy to do and they are not to do. The key is not to spend too much money, too much time on this. Do the thing, and you shall have the power. Go ahead. Take a pencil in hand and sketch it out. Remember, it's your life. What would you like it to mean? And remember this. No matter how lofty or long term your life dreams may seem, gentlemen, this is football. It starts with a penny. Start finding your pennies. Again, the 4 questions. So please write them down, my dear friends. Now let's analyze the very simple points for this chapter number 12, which is all about living the slight edge. What one simple, single, easy to do activity can you do day in and day out that will have the greatest impact on your health, your personal development, your relationships, your finances, and your life itself? Examine what they mean to you and where your dreams lie in each, and then lay out for yourself your dreams as goals. Specific, vivid, with a timeline, the price you're willing to pay, a plan to start, and finally, one simple daily discipline that you will commit to doing each and every day from now on. Novellina Betancourt has given another testimony. Let's read it. Usually, breakups are considered by most of us as painful experiences a person can ever encounter. When my relationship of 5 years came to an end, I did some soul searching and relived every moment. I realized that I had not shared my voice in my relationship and I did not want that pattern to continue. I became inspired by the time in my life and began to become the authentic total female package. So, with complete faith, I made another step, a decision. I would share my insights with every woman I know because at the end of the day, every woman is already the total female package and has all the answers she needs inside of her to live her best life. My breakup turned out to be a blessing because my first solo book project, The Total Female Package, which is based on 13 mirrors that every woman possesses, took form. And for the past 2 years, I've been working on building the movement around its message. I completed the manuscript over 6 months in a total of 40 hours. I broke up the days I would write so I didn't feel overwhelmed by the project, in addition to my present commitments. I began to share it with everyone I knew, word of mouth, social media, emailing, and every bite sized chunk of action moving it forward helped. I started to receive calls asking me to speak at events and recently co founded a women empowering women community to share the 13 mirrors, which has grown to 6 cities. The mirrors have a life of their own now, and I can honestly attribute it to taking small, manageable steps along my journey. The key was in allowing the magic to come from taking action with right edge moves daily and not getting discouraged. Right now, inside of you, you may have a really big dream and it may seem out of reach. When you break it into bite sized chunks, manageable steps, anything is possible. One day with time, you will wake up in the midst of what seems like a quantum leap in your life, but in reality, it's an idea or dream you nurtured by expressing your faith in action daily. The simple slight edge formula has made all the difference in achieving my goals, and it can for you too if you put that into practice. Thank you for joining me in this space. That's about it for today. Tomorrow we'll conclude this book by reading the chapter number 13, and thereafter on Sunday we will start this wonderful book called Goals. We'll be taking 1 day break and on Saturday the 13th and Saturday the 18th. So the Goals book is by Brian Tracy. We shall be reading it here on the same time, same place. So lots of love and light to everybody. Sleep tight and have a good night. Lots of love. Thank you, thank you, thank you.